Did Order 66 seem a little rushed to you, and that there was no reason for the clones to betray the Jedi? Well, this Clone Wars Season 6 arc would change the whole meaning of Revenge of the Sith and Order 66. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Disney News Channel. After the poll I put out a while ago, most of you said the Clone Wars is your favorite Star Wars show. So today we are diving into one of the most impactful story arcs, the Clone Conspiracy arc. The story here plays out as a thrilling mystery centered around the shocking moment when a clone, Tup, kills a Jedi. His friend Fives sets out to uncover the reason behind Tup's behavior, leading him to discover Order 66 itself. The episode starts as a normal battle with Anakin, Tipple, and her sister Tiplar as they are trying to capture Admiral Trench. This series does a great job referencing the Alderaan arc, showing a tactical callback as the clones eliminate the droids, but this time with a fresh twist that combines their skills with the Force. Right away, you can tell something is off with Tup. The way he acts increasingly aggressive towards the Jedi, especially when he says those bone-chilling words, "Good soldiers follow orders," building suspense. It's a chilling moment, and the actor voicing Tup captures his mind control state perfectly. What's interesting is that Tup repeats the line twice. First before he kills the Jedi, and then again after he emerges from the trance. Seeing it the second time from Tup's perspective deepens the horror of his conditioning. Even though Tup kills a Jedi, the story shifts focus to his tragic situation rather than the sister. The Jedi's reaction emphasizes how the Jedi are so consumed by the war that they can't even take care of their own. To fully understand the impact and suspense of this arc, we need to jump ahead to Revenge of the Sith, because that is what makes this arc stand out. Acting almost like a prequel, setting up so many scenes for the movie and making them more impactful. The war ends, the Jedi are accused of treason, and Palpatine is revealed to be the Sith Lord that created the war and played both sides. This is when he activates Order 66, the hidden command forcing clones to turn on the Jedi generals. Back in the arc after Tup's attack, the Kaminos take him back to his home planet. This is where we witness a horrifying moment as Fives helplessly watches his friend endure cruel tests and experiments, ending with Tup being in so much pain that he passes out. This scene shows us how little the Kaminoans care for the clones, and also subtly shows us that they might be working with the Sith on something. This arc also fleshes out the Kaminos in a far better way than any of the prequels. We only scratch the surface of who these people really are. There is a brief scene at the Jedi Temple where we see that, despite the fact that the clones were made for the war, the Jedi really do care for the clones, and most importantly, they see the clones as individuals. while the Kaminoans see them as a product. This is another interesting thing. The Jedi are hardly in this arc, and yet it is still one of my favorites. Everything here is great. My only small complaint is that I wish it went on longer, so we could have seen more of how the Jedi see the clones. Fives and his new droid friend, AZ-7, carefully sneak into Top's room to find the tumor that was suggested to be the problem, but end up killing him instead. Instead of going to the scientists, he goes to Shaak Ti, the Jedi in charge of the clones, who has been a trusted friend since his first days in training. The next episode starts with all the information they found on the tumor going to Palpatine, when suddenly the doctor comes in and says they would have had more information if they haven't removed the tumor. Keep in mind, we don't fully understand the Kaminoans' allegiances yet. So, when she does say Toph would have been better off, I start to wonder that myself. After all of that, Fives is released, but in a suspenseful and action-packed tone, they actually want to kill him and AZ for killing Toph. The next chase scene is climactic and dangerous, and ends with a great twist where they use a ship as a diversion and jump out mid-flight and are going back to find out what happened to Toph. This is all great, but I can't help but wonder if it would have been more impactful and emotional if we learned more about Toph. The mystery deepens when we learn that the tumor doesn't match anything in Jango Fett's DNA, the bounty hunter that became the base model for every clone. And furthermore, we learn the chip is not even organic and that somebody planted it in Toph. The clones are starting to leave the lab one by one, and Fives smartly deduces that the Kaminoans are onto him, and they must leave. Taking what we know about Order 66, the gears in our head start turning, and all of the pieces are starting to fit together. We all know what needs to happen, but we've also gotten to know these clones, and that puts us on the edge of our seats, begging and hoping maybe somehow they can fix this before it's too late. When in reality, we already know it's too late. Our two characters escape into a vent, and after everything that's happened, I'm glad we're getting a slowdown scene where we can get into the mind of AZ. After they learn about the tumor chip, Five wants AZ to check his head to see if it's also infected, but AZ is afraid to operate because he tells Fives that he is his only friend, but comes around after Fives says, "I trust you." After getting the chip out, they go to the room where all the unborn clones are. This is where we get the final piece of the puzzle that confirms it is not a tumor that hurt Toph. It was his control chip that malfunctioned, that gave him Order 66 early. All the clones were implanted with one before they were even born. This scene gives me goosebumps, and all I can say is, oh my gosh. This is enough to convince Shaak Ti that Fives is telling the truth, and is going to be sent to plead his case to the devil himself, Palpatine. Arriving on Coruscant, the meeting has begun, and everyone thinks Five's story is very unlikely, and the meeting ends with Palpatine saying he wants to talk to Fives alone, in the most condescending voice, saying he wants Fives to feel like he's being hard, but we all know what he's really up to. Once everyone leaves, Fives attacks him and claims it was because he didn't have his control chip. This is a genius move from Palpatine, and is one of the many reasons we love to hate him. Fives is on the run and is trying to contact Anakin and Rex to tell them what he knows about the clones. As Fives is on the run, the suspense builds until he meets with Anakin and Rex in the abandoned warehouse. In another suspenseful scene, Fives traps them in a force field. That's when my hair on the back of my neck went all the way up, because everything has built to this moment. So anyway, Fives gets shot by one of the clones and dies, as we get one last mention of the dream. And the final beautiful score tells me that all is lost, and the only hope they had to stop Order 66 is gone. You know, I don't think this show got enough credit for how much it committed to their dark and mature ideas, and went all the way with them when some shows, like Rebels, just don't have the guts to tell those more mature stories. So in conclusion, I think this is the best Clone Wars arc because of how it sets up Revenge of the Sith in the most captivating and exciting way. So stop overlooking this arc and rewatch it, while keeping Revenge of the Sith in your mind. And if you have, what impact did this arc have on your own experience rewatching the movie?